I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, and my parents and grandparents were products of Christian missionary schools. And they always felt that since God had blessed them, and thereby me, we had to pass it on. And that the word I heard over and over again was, to them to whom much has been given, of them will much be required. So I already knew that I was blessed, and I didn't know how I should pass these blessings along.
Destiny and the currents of life would eventually take Andrew Young to the point of realization, the place of defining purpose, but not before transforming him into one of the greatest, longest-serving civil rights leaders. Young boldly walked alongside legendary world changers.
I was, through my church activities, involved with the National Council of Churches, the World Council of Churches. I began to meet the leaders of liberation movements. I spent a summer in Europe working in a work camp with refugees from communist Europe. Next thing I know, I got involved with Martin Luther King.
I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream.
Now, we'd always been to the Caribbean, and Dr. King wrote all of his books practically in Jamaica.
The Caribbean was the point of connection and inspiration.
In those days, even before the Civil Rights Movement, we'd never been to a place where black people picked up the tickets, where there were black policemen. It's hard to believe now, but my children, until they went to Jamaica, had never seen somebody black directing traffic. They'd never seen somebody black in a bank. To have a country run by African people of African descent was mind-blowing.
The violent and devastating events that soon unfolded would prove to significantly alter the course of history for Young, the civil rights movement, and the entire world.
Next thing I know, with Dr. King's death, I ended up in Congress.
I, Andrew Young, do solemnly swear.
And it was there that the first year I was in Congress, I ended up going to Africa 3 times. It had never been before. I went to the World Bank meeting, the Inter-American Development Bank meeting, because I was on the banking committee in Congress. And so from the very beginning, my intention was, how do you get the wealth of the world interested in Africa and the Caribbean?
This reconnection to the motherland fired up Andrew's passion to bring relief and new wealth-generating opportunities to the people of Africa and the Caribbean, the beginning of a lifelong dream.
We ended up realizing that the best thing you can do probably in a city to brand it as a positive place for opportunity and investment is the Olympics. So we brought the Olympics here.
As mayor, Young promoted a revolutionary vision that challenged the traditional forms of branding and marketing a major city. His leadership in bringing the '96 Olympics to Atlanta succeeded as a phenomenal business venture for the first time in the game's history.
We also put on the Olympics in a way that it hadn't been put on before. We put it on in such a way that everybody profited. Minority and female-owned companies did 42% of the business. We raised $2.5 billion privately. And we ended up paying off all of our debts and having almost $100 million left over. And I said, why can't we do this in Africa and the Caribbean? Why is it that we can't use private investment to create jobs and opportunities? And that was the beginning of Good Works International.
At the core of Good Works International is the novel concept that third world economies and nations can be rebirthed and re-energized. With the right conditions, we can embrace opportunity.
You can make more honestly in a growing economy then you can steal in a dying economy. And if it's one thing that will kill an economy, it's petty thievery and graft and crime. And so people will bring their money where it's safe and where people are honest and efficient. And that's what I hope we're doing around the world. The world needs the influence, the opportunity, the talent that you see in the Caribbean and in Africa. Africa we see, as we do the Caribbean, as a place of opportunity and not just a place of problems and difficulties. We do this just basically because we're nice people and we're honest. And we took the red tape that normally makes it difficult for people to invest their money, and we turned that red tape into a red carpet so that we welcomed investors and we welcomed people to come in and create jobs and opportunities. And so what we're trying to do as a company and what I'm trying to do as a person is continue that missionary commitment of passing on the blessings that I have received through my parents to generations yet unborn in Africa and the Caribbean.